Hey, everybody. It is Thursday. I'm losing track of my days right now. But thank you for joining me. Today is the launch and the open house for our troubleshooting workshop, which we have called How to Troubleshoot Like a Professional Technician. And that's because this program is literally a reproduction of the way that we diagnose machines when they come in. I'm going to tell a little bit about the backstory of how we got here. Mainly through COVID, when our shop, like every other shop, was inundated with sewing machines at a time when everybody needed them right at that minute. So I'll give you a little bit of history on that, but welcome. And I do have a lot of things going. If you missed any of the live series I did over the last 3 weeks, excuse me, we did part 1, 2, and 3 of the Know Better, Sew Better series. If you are missing any of those replays or the handouts, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to link to where those are. They will stay on our website for a while. I don't think the link is obvious on the website. So if you need access to any of those handouts or the replays, let me know and I will be glad to link to you. Also, while I'm thinking of it, I can see some of the comment section. So if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to drop them in there. If I can't answer them live, I will go back and answer them in the replay or afterwards. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to share my screen here so we can talk more about our program, which is how to diagnose your machine like a professional. This is a much needed program. And it was kind of developed again under pressure, but yeah, I guess I would say under pressure. It's been in my mind for a long time, but there's really nothing out there that teaches us what to look for. And I know there's this misconception that machines are always broken when they go into the shop, and they do come in for service, but most people do bring them in when there's something going wrong. So I'm not chastising anyone for not having your machine serviced regularly, because I would be embarrassed to tell you the last time I serviced my own machine. It's been a while. But machines usually come in when there's an issue. And our shop is one of the few shops that try to address the issue up front with the customer rather than letting it sit on the shelf for 4, 5, 6 weeks, waiting to be seen, only to be told, hey, the problem is that you had a burr on your bobbin case and it took us 30 seconds to fix it. So that's kind of the basis of this program. We are launching in what we call beta mode. It has all of the bones there, the minimum. And then over the next 3 weeks, we will be increasing tenfold in video and photos. And we want a full spectrum of the way that you absorb the material, because everybody learns differently. So when you're coming into this program, you're getting a discounted rate while we continue to build out. And we would like your feedback in the meantime. So troubleshooting like a professional technician is for you if you sew and run into issues, and who doesn't? You feel like you get lucky when you get everything working right. I was just visiting my friend Melissa at her quilt shop in Swanee on Saturday, and one of her regulars was there and we were chatting about sewing, and she said that exact thing. She said, I kind of just sort of poke at things until I get it to work right or close enough. And I feel like that a lot of us have done that. So I'd like to eliminate that part for you. If you sew for business or on deadline and you can't afford downtime, a good portion of this program is meant to help you in that panicky moment of, it was working fine before and now it's not, and I got to get this project done. If you don't have access to a local repair shop, this is probably one of our biggest driving factors for creating this program, is that over the last decade, we've seen a tremendous decline in the number of service shops available. And I've talked about this in many of my programs. I feel like it's even worse post-COVID. So while it's maybe inconvenient to have to pack up your machine and drive 2 hours to a repair shop, I have customers and people that don't even have a repair shop. They'd have to drive 6 or 7 hours just to be told it's something minor or what have you. So we're trying to address that issue. If you are learning machine service and maintenance, we do have several people coming into this program that are coming out of my Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery, where they are learning to service, restore, and repair vintage machines. And then next month, or in November, we're releasing our modern machine maintenance program. And so for those that are learning to service machines and put their skills out there, you have to know how to diagnose a machine quickly and properly. And then if you teach sewing classes and need to better help your students, I feel like this is invaluable. For anybody that's ever taught any type of sewing class to someone, you never know when someone's machine is going to go wonky on you. And if you don't know their machine up and down, sometimes you spend more time in the class helping that person than actually teaching your skill. My whole purpose for this program is like all of my other programs. I'm doing everything I can through Sewing Doc Academy to help you to become self-reliant and confident, to avoid all the mishaps that can happen with all the free advice on the internet, avoid paying unnecessary fees to a technician, avoid unnecessary downtime, and increase your overall knowledge and intuition. If you've heard me talk before, you know that I have said millions of times that my biggest complaint about our industry is that it feels like those with the knowledge have hoarded it for too long. So I know many of my customers have gone to service shops and felt like they were never told what was going on with their machine. If they were doing something wrong, it's never passed on. So it's a lot of guesswork. And I would like to eliminate as much guesswork in your sewing as possible. So the guidelines for this program is that we work on home domestic machines only. We do not cover industrial or commercial specifically. It has to be a lock stitch machine. So no chain stitches, no toy machines, no sergers, overlockers, or embroidery specific. You can take what you learn in this program and apply it to those machines, but I can't help you specifically for anything other than a regular home domestic machine. I am planning to either expand this program to cover embroidery specific machines and free motion quilting troubleshooting, or they may become smaller independent programs next year. And this does include mechanical, electronic, and computerized machines. So it doesn't matter what type of home sewing machine you have, everything in here is going to cover that. So what it does not cover, because I feel like this is very important to be transparent, I am not teaching you timing adjustments in this program. I'm not going to teach you major repairs in this program. Computer failures and malfunctions are almost gray area. So if you're getting an error on your machine, I might be able to help you. A lot of times that has to do with sensors that have gone bad or misaligned. So sometimes those types of errors I can help you fix. But if your computer dies, if it's malfunctioning, if you have a Viking diamond that's 25 years old that's kind of glitching, I can't help you with those things in this program. I am also not going to teach you to get inside the machine for any reason through the standalone program. Everything here is meant to cover I wouldn't just say basic common errors, because there's a lot of big ones, but we're on the minor side. Most of these things you would need to go to a technician or contact me separately. So it doesn't cover those items. Again, I want to remind you, if you have questions, I will do a Q&A period at the end. If I can see any questions, and I'm happy to address them. If I don't see them or don't have time, please know that I will go back and answer all of the questions after the session. So I also want to remind you, if you're watching the replay or if questions come up after this program, if you go to the website, this is what it looks like on a computer screen. There is a little red button down on the bottom. On all pages, it says chat with me or chat with us. And that does go directly to me. I do have one caveat. I actually broke my phone yesterday, and I just got the replacement, which thankfully, because we live in a world where you get things instantly, I haven't set it up yet. So if you initiate a chat and I don't see it right away, I will get an email and I will email you back if that's the case. On your mobile phone or tablet, you will go into the troubleshooting workshop page. And if you scroll down, you're going to see a little green button down there that says let's chat. That's going to do the same. So it's going to give you a little pop-up window. You can type in your questions and you will get a response from me. So for those of you joining me for the first time, my name is Andy, and I am a professional service technician, although I am mostly retiring from full-time service so that I can focus solely on the academy. I do sew. I am a quilter, not really into garment unless you like 3 sleeves. That's kind of I'm not very good with garment, but I do mostly hand piece quilts, and I like to free motion quilt on domestic sewing machines. I have a 13-year-old son that's growing faster than I can keep up with. I was born and raised in St. Louis, but I've been in Georgia for 20 years now. I am devoted to donating as much time and sewing machines to charities, programs, and young people as possible. And I definitely have an obsession with any and all sewing machines. This is definitely my life's work, in case you hadn't guessed. I admit that vintage old metal machines are absolutely my favorite. So I do service, repair, and restore sewing machines professionally. I am also teaching others to service, repair, and restore sewing machines. And my number one goal for everyone, regardless of what you are pursuing, is to help you be less reliant on service technicians and those that do hold all of that knowledge kind of to themselves, and provide as much accurate and detailed knowledge to anyone who wants it as possible. So again, I said this program was born from what we called a quick fix program. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So I've been servicing, restoring, and repairing for almost 13 years now. I am an independent service shop. I have supported a dealer in the past, but I am definitely meant to be a lone wolf in this. So during COVID, I'm like most shops where our turnaround time was probably about 2 to 3 weeks on average if you brought your machine in for service or repair. And then COVID hit, and we didn't expect the quarantine and mask making to give us this surge of business, to the point that it was overwhelming. Super, super grateful and super, super scary all at one time. Our turnaround time went from 2 to 3 weeks to 12 weeks overnight and stayed there for 2 years. So we were working almost 7 days a week, 12-hour days, trying to keep up with the number of machines coming in and going out. And I would say within the first 6 months, I was like, we got to figure something out, because this is not letting up. So we played around with some ideas. And the thing I've always noticed is that, yes, machines do need service when they come into the shop. But most of us, you don't have to be rigid with your machine service. You have to be responsible. But what we noticed is that most of the machines that were coming in broken were not broken. They weren't needing timing adjustments or major repairs. They were needing what we would call a quick fix. The needle's in backwards. It's the wrong bobbin. There's a burr on the needle plate. The thread is bad. There's something snagging on a spool. We saw the same things over and over again. So we tested this program where our customers would schedule an appointment for a specific day and time, and it would be a 30-minute slot. They would bring their machine in, pay a flat fee, which I think was $39 at the time, up front. And then I gave myself about 20 to 30 minutes to see if we could diagnose the machine, figure out its issues, and send them on their way so they could keep sewing. Then they had the option to apply that fee towards a future service within the next 6 months, or, they paid their fee, so they were able to apply that to their service fee if they brought it back. Out of, let's just say on average, we saw 40 machines in a week. 35 of them probably were fixed and went on their way. Maybe 4 or 5 would stay, either because the customer's like, no, it really needs service. I see the inside, how bad it is. Go ahead and service it. Or it did need timing adjustments or something larger. But the vast majority were solved quickly that day, and the customer could go home without having to wait 12 weeks for their machine to sit there for me to say it was a burr on your needle plate. So we carried this program all the way through COVID and then some. And that spurred the idea to be able to make our methods available to everyone to avoid having to go to the shop in the first place. So like I said here, it's not really a luxury anymore, but I feel like it's a need because of our severe lack of technicians. But also, you should know how to better handle your machine when you use it on a regular basis. So the number one issue that I point out in every program I do is that most of the information you find online is guesswork or lucky fixes. So that means it's not always bad information, but it might not be the right information that you need for your particular issue. So here's an example. If you've ever seen me talk before, I do admit that one of my hobbies is to go into the different sewing groups. This is out of Sewing Patterns and Fabric, which used to be the sewing room. I think there's 140,000 members in that group, and they share a lot of information about different sewing techniques and whatnot. But I like to find the ones where people are having machine issues and try to help out and just help someone's day get a little better. So this is an example. Now, the poster could have done a better job of explaining the issue. It just says, why does this keep happening? And what I noticed, if you look closely, is that not only is the fabric jammed, but the thread is actually wrapped around the edge of the bobbin a couple times, which is not good. So I had taken, this has only got 29 comments, which in a group that large, I must have caught this at the very beginning of the post, because typically you see about 140 on average comments on those posts with suggestions. So I took some screenshots and I did blank out everyone's identity because I don't need anyone to feel embarrassed or ashamed of anything. But this is all of the responses that came in. So we have this is what happens to me when with a slightly bent needle. Change it out. It looks like it got jammed. Is the bobbin not round properly? Looks like the needle eye is too small. You're missing at least one of the top thread tension pads. It goes on. Bobbin is not threaded correctly. Could be the bobbin thread is too loose. Sometimes I accidentally use my Singer bobbins for my brother. Maybe wash away stabilizer. It's fine cross thread. It needs stabilizer. Could be a scratch on your bobbin case. Could be the thread should be behind the needle bar. I've never figured it out, but sometimes rethreading the machine gives me a break for a while. Is that your bobbin thread or your top thread? It's getting caught on something. A whole lot of tips on using a stretch needle. This happens to me a lot. Has to use a certain bobbin size. Are you using a needle for knits? Top thread is typically out of that piece that moves up and down on the thread path. And then the last suggestion basically said, take apart the upper tension assembly, clean it, and problem solved. So the point I'm making with this is out of all those and looking at that picture, probably a handful of those responses are not wrong. However, every situation is different. So trying to filter through all those things is the hard part. The scariest suggestion I see online that absolutely kills me is go to YouTube and search for videos on how to reset the timing on your machine. Please don't do this. In fact, it's to the point where several of the groups, especially on the vintage side, have a alert set up so that when someone says the word timing, the admins actually get an alert so they can go in and intervene. And that's because timing does slip on machines. I adjust a lot of timing, but I'm going to say most of the time it's not timing. And to go and try and find a video that's even remotely close to your machine that even remotely properly addresses timing is almost impossible and usually makes it worse. So while I don't teach timing adjustments in this program, one of the most important components that I'm offering is to teach you how to check your timing so that you can at least rule it out completely or know that you need to take your machine for service. So there is a module in here that will have a complete video and some pictures and a whole lot of descriptions on what to look for so you can at least rule that out. And then I'll get into this a little more later, but we will also offer private paid consultation to address timing and other adjustments on and repairs when it's feasible. It really just depends on the machine. So all of that to say you can waste hours and hours finding correct information. So all those things were probably not incorrect, but it can still make things worse. So in my opinion, machine diagnostics have to be methodical, and they have to be a series of habits. If you've ever watched any of my presentations, I'm always talking about methods and habits. And that's because we are creatures of habit. The more that we improve our habits, the less hassle we have on the back end. So you can have, and what I'm showing in that whole thread of comments is you can have 4 machines with the exact same symptom, but 4 totally different issues. So we have to figure out how to approach this properly. The first section we have in part 1 is called Troubleshooting by Symptom. So if you look on the left, this is a screenshot of the main modules that you're going to find on the Troubleshooting by Symptom part. So we have needle thread breaks or stitch issues, needle breakage, fabric bunching, loose stitching. If you're in the moment and it's midnight and you're trying to finish this quilt for the baby shower that happens tomorrow and everything was working okay and now it's not, this is a section you're going to go to, because whatever your issue you're having is where you can search. And it's going to give you a full set of steps. So it's the exact same procedure that we've used every day in our shop to figure out what's going on with machines. It's going to allow you to select the symptom that you're experiencing. It's going to walk you through a very specific set of steps in order to rule out issues or discover the issue. So this is what it looks like expanded. This is under needle thread breaks or stitch problems. And there's a checklist you'll see here later, but I'm under threading and needle guides. And then on the right, all your information is going to show up. There's going to be text, videos, and pictures in all of the modules. Then you would just hit next lesson if you had not solved your issue. So sometimes when it's a video, it's going to look like this. So you can hit play, pause, you can skip forward, backward. I think you can even slow it down. You can do closed captioning. But I do this so that if there's one issue you keep having that you need to go back to, you can find it fairly easily. And then this is an example of what it looks like when there's text and pictures and other things in the modules. I have a lot of downloads in here. So this is an example of a PDF. This one was taken from the lecture I did the first week, which was threading your machine. So that material is in there, and you can download these for reference if you need them. This is an example of a comment. And of course, it's me commenting, but at the bottom of every single lesson, there is a place to leave pictures, videos, and text so that if you're having if you need some clarification or you just want a hand on your shoulder to double check what you're thinking, because we are very big on building your intuition. I'm happy to help guide you, but I want you to develop that feeling of like, oh, this seems familiar. So this is an example here where I posted saying, do you see any birds here that I should be worried about? When you post something here, within 12 hours, maybe 24 on a weekend, but within 12 hours, you'll get answers to your questions, and you will all learn from each other this way. So let's look at part 2, which is in-depth troubleshooting. It's the same procedures we use. This section's a little different because it's going to teach you how to check or test everything that's in that part of the machine. So if you look over here on the left, we have upper thread path, lower thread path, the hook area, and the machine in general. So it's going to go through all of those in depth. It's really, really good if you're on the market for buying a used machine and you want to know how to evaluate it a little bit better. So it's going to give you some checklists you can take with you and some downloads. It's more expansive when you aren't sure what the issues are. So if you're going through the symptoms and something just seems off, then you can do a more thorough check through this section. And it's really, really, really good if you sew a lot or you're a beginner. It will expand your knowledge on how sewing machines work and how to keep them working, but you'll also start to notice when something is not right. So it's going to look the same as the first part, but here under upper thread, you can see there's a checklist and what to expect, clean and lubricate the machine. There's all of these things that you need to do in this section. And so here on the right, every section you click on is going to show up on the right. And then we have a third section, which is actually at the top of the program called Universal Basics, or what I call How to Stop Depending on Luck. Now, these are the things I feel like I get the biggest eye rolls. You heard me say that a lot over the last 3 weeks, because when you talk to people about threading their machine, most people are like, I know how to thread my machine. I always thread my machine. And you'd be surprised that people that have been sewing for 40 years bring their machine in and they're missing one tiny thread hook because they've always missed it and have gotten lucky. So this goes through all of your preemptive things, how to thread properly, correct bobbins, winding a bobbin, loading a bobbin, selecting the right needle, how to make a test sew, balancing tension. And these will be referred to a lot in other parts of the program. So it's a great starting point for anyone that sews. And if you are a seasoned sewist, I do ask that you not dismiss that section so quickly. All the things that manufacturers, meaning Janome and Baby Lock and Bernina, all of those brands, these are the things they expect you to know, but they don't actually tell you. I can say with absolute confidence that the majority of user manuals that have been produced in the last 10 to 15 years are almost minimalist. Like I have noticed that on a lot of the machines, they don't even tell you what bobbin your machine uses. They just say it uses a bobbin. And I cannot tell you how much headache that creates for someone who doesn't know what type of bobbin their machine uses. So we're filling in all the gaps that they're not giving you. It applies to any and all home domestic sewing machines. And I do consider this preventative measures. I'm very, very big on trying to prevent the problems before they happen. And if you can master these and make them habits, then you're rarely going to run into hiccups or issues. So the more that you spend time in here understanding and building a relationship with your machine, you're going to see things before they actually happen on the back end. That makes sense. So in this section, again, it's going to look a lot like the others. This is under selecting the right needle. So there's some text information. If you were to scroll down, there would be some downloads and other things for you to reference as well. I did a short video here of what this looks like if you're on your computer. So when you first get into the program, there's going to be a handful of modules that are mandatory, and they have to do with our method on troubleshooting. And it is very important that it is kind of treated like a scientist would. I've set this up in a very specific order so that you're not just taking shots in the dark. We're eliminating issues to narrow down what the issue is in the moment. It sounds like a lot, but this can take you 5 to 10 minutes. So here, I've clicked in the beginning, and it's going to prompt you to go through these 3 modules, which the one it's waiting for right now is troubleshooting versus guessing and trial and error. So you have to go in and click and hopefully read through it. It's not long. So you're going to go through and read through it. Then you're going to hit next lesson. It's going to prompt you to go through the 3rd one, which is how to contact me if you have issues you can't solve. And then you can continue on into any other module in the program, which here is more in depth about how to troubleshoot by symptom. And then when you go in, most of them will have a checklist, and you can download this and print it so that if you're going somewhere and you want to evaluate a machine, you have checklists. If you're constantly running into an issue, you can have this next to you to refer to. But I do try to include as many as possible. And then when you're going through your symptom, you're just going to keep going through all the modules and eliminating what the issue might be. And so I wanted to show you, because I broke my phone, I couldn't make a video of what it looks like on the phone. We do have a fantastic app through our platform that is super, super easy to use, which I would say is actually easier than the computer to use for it. When you log in, you'll see what all the programs you have access to through Sewing Doc Academy. You're going to click on the troubleshooting program, and it's going to take you into the modules. And then it's going to be the same thing. Your text is going to be down here, and any videos are going to show up at the top. You can rotate your phone so that videos show in full landscape mode. This is under another lesson. And then discussion is another tab that's super easy. So this is that same comment that I had made on that module, just as an example. So the app is super friendly, and I feel like this program is the absolute most perfect use of that app, because you can literally hold your phone, go through your machine. If you're going to evaluate a machine in a store or if you find a used one at a dealer, you can have it in your hand and go through all of my steps wherever you are. And it's free and it's included. So in summary, step 1, you would go to the symptom you're experiencing, assuming that's the case that you're in. You would work through all the modules in order, using the text, the videos, and the checklist to inspect your machine and try what's suggested to you. You can leave comments with pictures, details, videos, if you need clarification or you aren't sure how to proceed. You would email me with more complex issues to see if it's just something that was missed or if we can expand on it for you. And step 5 would be to schedule a paid consultation for diagnosis and potential repair. And then you also have the option, of course, always going to a repair shop. So let's talk about the paid consultation side. So the program itself is going to have a flat fee, and you owe nothing else ever, unless you choose to do a paid consultation. So you would pay a flat fee for a private consultation on the issue you're having. A normal fee for consultation with me is $49. This is just to help you diagnose what the issue is with your machine. If you enroll in this period as a founding member, your rate is only going to be $15 per consultation, and that does not expire. So it's not a one-time offer. And when you enroll today, you will always only pay $15 for that initial consultation. This is to diagnose and potentially resolve the issue. And at the very minimum, you will at least have confirmation. Well, if it has to go to the service shop, at least you know it has to go to the service shop and it wasn't just some small little thing. We do use email, messaging, photos, videos, and live Zoom calls as needed to help address your issue. If the diagnosis shows something like a timing adjustment or a bigger repair is needed, and we know that that the machine is something that I feel confident that I can help you through, and you're up for the challenge, we do have options to help you through those issues. So for instance, if the timing is off on your Brother computerized machine, I would charge you about $99 to $150, again, depending on the machine. And we would do a consultation between us where I'd walk you through the steps to resolve the issue. So there's a lot of components that go into it. But again, we have so many people that support us that don't have a local repair shop. And while it can be nerve-wracking to do this, it's better to have this option than to have no option. So we're offering as many options as possible. So in these cases, if you do a full consultation like that with me, then we will record the video session. Sometimes we do a pre-recorded if it's cut and dry. If it's something like timing, we would probably do a live Zoom call, and you would get to keep a copy of the video of your session. And then we also do a free follow-up to make sure everything is still good. So the whole point of what we do is to avoid having to Google for answers or hoping for the best. No more unnecessary service fees and no more icky feelings when you feel like you've been taken. I still think that if we determine that your machine needs to go in for service, it would probably feel better going in knowing what the issue is rather than waiting for someone to tell you. At least that's how I feel. So with the founding member benefits, remember we are launching in beta mode, so there is a lot of improvement that needs to be made to our program. But you do have access to all learning modules in this program for life. So it's a one-time payment and you will never lose anything. You have access to all the upgrades, expansion, improvements that are coming now and forever. You're going to get one free initial consultation, and that does not expire. So if you enroll today, it's not like you have to use it in the next week. It's 2 years down the road and you have some issue you can't figure out, you have that option. We're going to always give you the discount on the initial fee. So that's the $34 savings. So you're going to pay $15 rather than $49. You're going to get individualized help at no cost over the next few weeks while we improve the program. So like I said, we're launching in beta mode so that we can get some feedback, and we have so many videos waiting to be edited to go in. We just need time. And then we do have a potential affiliate program to earn a little money. And it's not like a salesy thing because I don't do sales very well. So as a reminder, all of our learning modules, the handouts, the information is copyrighted. So you cannot use this material to teach others what you've learned in the workshop. We do ask that you respect this. Please don't give out your username and password. Please don't do a group watch of this with a guild. Please refer them to us so that we can help them. It takes a lot of time and effort to make these programs possible. So we just ask that you respect that. Now, that being said, this is an offer that we're making to pretty much anybody. And that's because I feel like there's such a need for this. But we are launching this program for real at the end of October. When I say for real, I mean the refined version. It's going to be a higher cost item. But if you're in a quilt guild, if you have a lot of sewing friends, if you have strong social media, or you know a lot of people that sew, this would be a really easy way to have a little side income. The cost of our full program is going to be $149 when it relaunches. Our affiliate program pays 25% of the enrollment fee when someone signs up using your link. So if you have a quilt guild that you have friends in and you use your link and they sign up, that means you're going to get $37.25 for every single person that enrolls with your link. So I'm not asking you to go on YouTube and be that person unless you're just that fanatically interested. But in the sewing community, we all know enough people that can use this that I want to be able to reward you for helping us as well. So you can pass on that $37.25 as a discount for people. You can donate it to charity. You can use it as your retirement fund. You can buy fabric. You can do whatever you want with it. So there's no limit on the number of enrollments that you can put in. And if you happen to have a guild and I come speak live or virtually, your guild or you would earn the 25% back for each enrollment at that event. So now that COVID is kind of waning a bit and we're starting to travel more, I'm happy to, especially with small guilds that don't have a budget, that almost makes my speaking fee free if you get enough people enrolled. So that's a program we have coming inside this. Now, the enrollment program opens today for beta and is going to close at midnight next week on October 6th. So you have a few days to get in. Enrollment's going to open again in October with the full complete program at regular pricing, and it's going to stay open. And let's see. So to be clear, you have lifetime access to all the learning modules in the program, all of the upgrades and improvements that are coming. You're going to get a free initial consultation. You're going to get the discount on our consultation rate, does not expire, individualized help while we make improvements, and the affiliate program to earn money. And it's $79 as our one-time payment. So that's our way of rewarding you for helping us really, really make this a great program. I have one other thing that I want to throw out. Normally, we would be launching our Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery open house again. We only open it periodically, but with the chaos of us closing our shop and launching this program, we just simply didn't have time. But we have a wait list of people waiting for the Vintage Sewing Machine program. So to be transparent, when you're in one of my comprehensive programs like Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery, we offer a discount for our other programs when they launch. So we're trying to give everyone the same deal. We rolled back our prices to our original pricing for the Vintage Sewing Machine program because they are going up. And we had given a $20 discount to the troubleshooting program to our current members. So it's $59 instead of $79. So what I did is I took all of our 3 options for the vintage sewing machine program, combined them with troubleshooting, and you will save $140 regardless of which option you take. So for 3 months membership with the VSMM and troubleshooting, it's $308. And you can see we've discounted our prices back to the original. So if you go to, when you get the link to go, if this is something that interests you, I'm happy to answer any questions, but we will not be doing an open house. On the sales page for Vintage Sewing Machine Mastery, there is a replay of our last open house if you'd like to view it. Okay, so here's our enrollment info. You can type this link into your browser, or you can just go to the website through sewingdocacademy.com, and it's going to be right there on the front page for you to get into the sales page. It is sewingdocacademy.com/TSW-sales. If you are curious about the bundle that has the vintage sewing machine and the troubleshooting, you will find that on the troubleshooting page. There's a link to it. All right, so I can do some Q&A if there is any. Let me get out of here and back into, give me just a second. I always hit the wrong buttons. Okay, let's see. Thank you, Casey. I saw this morning. I hope you're still not blown away down there. And Marge, it'll be here when you're ready. I am going to go back through and check comments. And again, if anybody needs any replays from the last 3 weeks or the handouts, let me know and I'll be glad to publish them. So if you have questions, y'all please use the chat button. It may take me a minute to get back to you, but I'm happy to answer any questions about either program. And I appreciate you joining us today. So I'm very excited to work with you all. And this is a very big program for us. We have committed a long time ago that even if we have to do it by ourselves, that we will change this industry to be better serving for, when you make an investment in a sewing machine, it's really hard just to accept that nobody's going to help. So we're all changing this industry together. So I thank you for being a part of our journey. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you on the other side.